friends, Min here from On a Stamp Page. I'm excited to share my next creation for you as a guest designer this month at the Crafter's Castle Technique Challenge. Again, our challenge theme is anything goes, and we're looking for holidays if you'd like to do that optional twist. And our sponsor is Ooh La La Scraps, which is an amazing Etsy shop that sells fabulous digital elements for digital scrapbooking and other projects. Today I'm going to show you how I created this card using elements from the Naughty or Nice digital digital scrapbooking kit. All the links for the products that I'm going to use are down in the description of my video. And honestly, these scrapbook kits are an amazing deal. They're $2 to $3, and you get an amazing array of elements, which if you saw my first video, you saw that, and I will show you this kit as well. So in order to make this kit, or this card, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new panel, and my card panel is going to be 3.75 by 5, and I'm going to make the resolution 150 pixels per inch. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my file, and I'm going to open up some of these elements. As you can see, I've made a few different Christmas cards with this kit. I'm going to open up the elements in this Naughty or Nice digital scrapbooking kit. And as you can see here, we have alphabets. So this is a really cute polka dot alphabet with the numbers and everything in it, quotation marks, all of that sort of thing, which I absolutely love. So if you love digital alphabets, that's a perfect one. Then there's also, and actually let me just open this up for you so you can see. There's also digital papers, as you can see, all of these different elements. And I haven't even had a chance to look at literally everything that's in here because it is so much. So all of these things are in this Naughty or Nice digital scrapbooking kit. So let's go back in and open up some of the elements that I used. When you're looking at a digital scrapbooking kit, like I said, this is the alphabet, AP, all of these EL files are elements, and then down here are the pattern papers. And I've created a little folder down here that says reindeer cards so that all of the elements are already up. And I have this little created panel as a reminder to myself of what we're going for. I'm going to start by opening the paper. And in order to get it from here over to here, all I'm going to do is left click and drag. And as you can see, this texture is a lot larger than this texture. So depending on what you're wanting, you can resize. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure why my Photoshop elements keep disappearing here and here. So I just have to keep clicking up at the top. But anyway, so I'm going to drag this until I can see these corner guides. And then I'm going to hit Shift and I'm going to drag. And the reason why you hit Shift and drag is because that way it keeps the same resolution. Otherwise it starts to get skewed. I guess I shouldn't say it keeps the same resolution. It doesn't, it obviously always keeps the same resolution, but it keeps the same dimensions. And actually, I don't know that I'm going to make it any smaller because I kind of like this bigger texture. So I'm done with that. And I'm going to close out of this paper. And then if you saw, this part is white, and so in order to get this white background, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to where it says Layers, and I'm going to click this button right here, which is New Layer. I'm going to take this shape maker, grab the rectangle, and make it white. You can pick colors either on here in Photoshop, you can go to color libraries, you can also use the little eyedropper and it'll take you to a color close to that. But we just want white, so I'm going to just drag it all the way up there to white. And then, oh, sorry that keeps happening. I'm going to create my rectangle. And I'm going to go to where my guide's up here where I'm going to be at 1/4 of an inch by 1/4 of an inch. And actually, I think I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Maybe we'll do an 1/8 by an 1/8 because I kind of like more clean space. So I'll do an 1/8 by an 1/8. And then I'm going to drag this over here till again it's at that 1/8 over here on the top, and then up here till it's an 1/8 in here. And there I have my white. Now if I wanted to make sure this was completely in the middle, what I can do is I can maximize the screen and I can drag from the side, and it's going to kind of lock in place to show me where the center there is. And then I'm going to come down here, and it's going to lock in place there. And then I can choose my shape, click on the arrow, and if you can see, it's almost in the center, but it needs to go down a little bit, so I'm going to use my arrow to drag it down just a smidge. And now I know that everything is perfectly centered. Guides are really helpful when you're wanting to center things. I'm going to minimize this again. Well, it's not minimize. I'm going to make this smaller again so that I can open some more elements. I really like that this kit, and I'm going to go up here. I hope that I choose the right one. Nope, not the right one. Sorry, friends. Is this the right one? No, it is not. But look at all these elements. I'm glad I'm kind of not showing you the right ones. Here they are. I love how there's all of these different words or sentiments that you can use on cards, and I think this one is actually clear down here at the very last one, which is funny that it's the last one that I'm also showing you. There's all these cute little buttons with sayings on them, and little tags and things like that. But I really liked this little "I was good this year" title. So I'm going to open that up. And again, I'm going to left click and drag over. I'm going to close this out. And as you can see, this is way too large. So I'm going to go to my corner, hit shift and drag so it doesn't get skewed. Pull it over. I want it kind of up at the top. Come to this corner, shift, click, drag. Make it to where it's just in the white part and the brown part stays brown. And I might have to pull this just a smidge bit more. There we go. So now I have my brown back, my white space, and my little sentiment, which I just think is hilarious. I was good this year. And now it's time for me. And I'm going to pull this up just so we can see it. We're going to create this little vignette, or whatever you want to call it. That's such a fancy word, but it's the only word that came to my mind right here, using some of the washi tape, the 2 washi tapes that are in this card pack, some evergreen boughs, the darling little reindeer, and then this little red star. So I'm going to open up the washi tapes first, and I love these washi tapes because they're semi-transparent, so they actually act kind of like washi tape. And I need to look again. How did I have it? This is not the right one. But how did I have this? Okay, so I have the red on top of the chevron, or the stripe is what it is. So I'm going to do the stripe first. Oh, it is a chevron. Excuse me, I keep making so many mistakes today. I apologize. I'm going to pull it down, just like I was doing before. Resize it. And I'm going to kind of add it down here to the corner. And then, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been clicking this little check mark up here. That means that you want to commit, like you want to commit to the changes that you just made. It's the commit click is what I call it. And then I'm going to pull this red one over. Make this smaller. Shift and resize. And even though you can't see it, it'll have these bounding boxes over here. Now, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and then I'm going to tell you what I was going to say. If you don't see these bounding boxes, you might have to go up here and click Show Transform Controls, because if I take those away, it's gone. So if you don't see that when you're in your Photoshop program, make sure that you've got Show Transform Controls clicked when you're in your arrow setting. Okay, so now I've got my red, I've got my chevron, and it is time to do the evergreen boughs. So I'm going to open those evergreens. And if you want to open more than one element at a time, you can left click, hit control, and do another one. Now if you hit one and then you hit control, it's just going to choose those two. If you wanted to select all of this, if you hit this and then you hit shift, hold down shift and click on the other thing, it'll give you everything in between. But I just want these two right now. So I'm going to open those up. And again, I'm going to drag over, and I'm going to close this one. Resize, got to find my corner. There's my corner. Shift and drag, pull up, shift and drag again, pull over. Oh dear, I'm glad this happened. I'm also going to tilt this a little bit, but I'm glad this happened like this. So as you can see, this is behind the washi, and I don't want it there. So what I need to do is I need to come over to my layer and pull it up. And anything that's up top here will be like the top layer. If you wanted something behind other things, you would just need to move them down. So I can left click and drag down, left click and drag up. The other thing that I want to do is I want these to kind of stand out a little bit more. So I'm going to give them a drop shadow. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to double left click on layer 5, and it's going to bring up this layer style box. And I'm going to click drop shadow, and that gives this a nice drop shadow. If you don't like how dark it is, you can make the opacity lighter, which I'm not quite fond of how big or how dark that is. So I'm going to make it just 50%. So it's just a subtle shadow. So it looks like it's actually laying on the card. And then I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to pull over my single one, my single lady. Sorry, that song just popped into my head, and I was like, I got to say that. Shift and drag, pull up, shift and drag. Got to make it a little bit smaller. Got to make it even more small. All right, here we go. And I'm going to have this kind of come over here and go off to this side, so they're kind of crossed down here. Commit to the click up here so I can get my layers back. Double left click on layer 6 to give it a drop shadow. And again, I'm going to make it 50% because I don't want it to be too overwhelming. Next, I'm going to pull over the darling reindeer and the star, so I need to open those elements. So here's my cute little reindeer, here's the little star. Open those two things up, minimize the star for a second, pull little Rudolph over. He even has a little face. Nope, I do not want to save changes to that. He even has a little face that's saying, I was good this year. He's so cute. So shift and drag again, pulling it up. Shift and drag. And you can go forwards or backwards because I realized I was going to need more. So here we go. Here's little Rudolph. And I think I'm going to give him a drop shadow too, since he's technically standing in front of everything. So I'm going to give him a drop shadow. And I actually like the darker drop shadow for him. Commit to that. Minimize again. Pull up my star. I love how this looks like real glitter paper and the real metal brad in the center. That's why I love these digital elements, because you can create cards that look like they were handmade, and technically it is handmade because you're making it with your hands in Photoshop, but it looks like it was handmade, but it's flat and it's easy to mail, and who does not love that at Christmas time? I'm going to drag this right over here, and I feel like this star needs a little bit of a drop shadow, so double click over here, drop shadow. The other cool thing that you can do, some of these other things that if I didn't want to drop shadow, if I wanted to make it look like it was like cut out of the card, I can do this inner shadow and see how it looks like you cut into the card and it's back there. You can also do an outer glow, which makes a glow behind it, an inner glow, which makes a glow coming from the inside. So many different things you can do here, but I like the drop shadow to make it look like it's being layered on top of each other. And that is pretty much it. My card is done, and all I have to do now is print it and get it onto an actual card base to send. That's all that I have for you today. I hope that you join us at the Crafters Castle Challenge. The link's below, and so are the links to all of the other DT members who have made some beautiful creations. You're going to want to check those out. I also hope you take some time to go to Ooh La La Scraps and check out all their amazing scrapbook kits. They have them for every season, every holiday, anything you could imagine they have it for. And they're perfect for teachers. They're perfect for, because I'm a teacher, and so I love these little cards for my kids. They're perfect for teachers. They're perfect for somebody who wants to do something that's a little bit cheaper than buying a card from a big box store. They're just amazing. And I also want to say a real quick thank you to Janie for inviting me to join them this month. And I wish you all the best. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Until next time, hugs and happy stamping, friends.